Welcome to episode 406, where I'm joined by Vaidya Princy Prasad, an experienced Ayurvedic doctor and educator with a deep clinical and academic background. Together, we explore Agni beyond digestion, how this inner fire shapes our hormones, immunity, mental clarity, and much more. So please stay tuned. Hi there, I'm your host Colette, and on this podcast I will be sharing the teachings of Ayurveda, yoga, and holistic health practices. Now, if you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend checking out the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. Thanks for listening, and now here's a new episode. Before we start into today's episode, I want to let you know about my upcoming discounted group Digestive Reset Cleanse. This is the seasonal transition cleanse starting October 3rd. This cleanse is a group format. It comes with a private community for support and accountability. However, it is tailored to you. It comes with a 90-minute online consultation with me so I can prepare an individualized program to ensure success. There will be individualized meal plans and yoga and pranayama and self-care and mindfulness practices, a holistic cleanse to ensure that you feel the full benefits of this time of cleansing for the body and mind. So please come join us starting October 3rd. Just click on the link in the show notes, or you can visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com. Go to the events page for this upcoming group Digestive Reset Cleanse. If that date of October 3rd doesn't suit you and you want to do this program, I do have it available in a private format. It's the same structure. You just get to choose your own dates and you have me one-to-one for support. I will put all the links in the show notes. Okay, let's get into today's episode. Hello and welcome back to the Elements of Ayurveda podcast. Today I'm very happy to welcome Vaidya Princy Prasad, who is an educator and practitioner of the science of life, Ayurveda. Trained by experienced Vaidyas of Kerala, she has a special focus on orthopedic management and also on diverse health conditions. Obtaining her degree in Ayurvedic medicine and surgery and a master's degree in surgery from Kerala University of Health Sciences, she continued her research studies in Gujarat Ayurveda University for the fulfillment of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD Ayurveda. Having a clear understanding of principles of Ayurveda, patient care, research, and development, she worked under Ayush Ministry in India and is currently working with Kerala Ayurveda USA, based in California. Vaidya Princy is passionate about teaching Ayurveda and has authored articles in Ayurveda in reputed journals and is the subject editor of International Journal for Ayush case reports as well. Vaidya Princy, welcome back to the podcast. It's a pleasure to have you again.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Oh, it's an honor. And I'm really looking forward to our discussion today on Agni. And Agni, we have obviously discussed a lot over the past few years on podcasts, but today we're going to dive even deeper because as with Ayurveda, there's always more to discover. You pull back one layer and there's another layer, right? With Ayurveda.
Of course, because as we dive deeper into the Ayurvedic principle, we can find more and more gems into that.
Yeah, it's a never-ending source of wisdom, which is fascinating and beautiful. But what I would like to do is start for those who are new to the concept of Agni. So just let's cover the basics and start with an explanation of Agni and why it's of paramount importance for our health and well-being. Let's start there. That would be great.
Of course, yeah. So Agni is actually the Sanskrit word for fire. It's fire. So fire means it can burn anything, right? So what are we going to talk about? Something related with fire inside us. So fire, it's not just the physical fire that we are seeing in our, like the wood fire or something else, but it's a functional form of fire or the transformation. And as you mentioned, we have heard it a lot through different podcasts and through different discussions. We might have heard it and we might be thinking, what is that important to discuss about the digestion? Because every day we eat a lot and we digest and we poop. It's going on, right? But ultimately, this fire or the transformation that is happening within us is responsible for our health and disease. So we have to maintain a balance between the energies in our body, and this Agni or the digestion or the digestive fire inside us is responsible to maintain this health in our body. So that is why we need to discuss it again and again and again, because we are living in a world where we work a lot to earn a lot of money so that we can have the food that we like and we sleep peacefully. But sometimes we forget to eat, we forget to sleep, and we forget to be in a peaceful mind. All we do is like to earn money and to run after all those busy life, but we forget what we need in our life, right? So we always have to go back to the basics, the digestion and the metabolism with which we can maintain a healthy life. And of course, we are aging. We have to go through the different phases of our life, but how to age in a healthy way, like transformation in our life, different phase, going through different phases of life in a healthy way. And this Agni or maintaining the form of digestion in our body helps to do that, go through the transformation. So Agni is responsible for digestion, of course, but it is also responsible for our mental clarity as well. So it is responsible for the memory, intelligence, and even the cellular level of intelligence. Cellular level of intelligence is responsible, is directed by this Agni. So it's not just the digestion, it's for the mental discernment, willpower, and the perception, to sharpen our perceptions, to support our emotional resilience. So total emotional regulation is also under the control of this Agni. So that is why in today's world, this Agni, the concept of Agni and maintaining the Agni in a proper way is so important.
Okay, thank you for that. And you've given us a glimpse into how important this fire is in the body, but also how far reaching it is. And so that's where I want to go next, because sometimes Agni is simply defined as our digestive fire. And we think of, oh, okay, that's our digestion, where our food is digested and broken down. But Agni goes beyond that, right? There's many different types of Agni and many different levels of action in the body. So let's go a little deeper now and go down the road of how many types of Agni there are in the body and what are they?
Definitely. See, in Ayurveda, 13 different types of Agnis are mentioned. 13, 1-3, right? So there are different levels of this digestion or transformation. So now onwards, let us use the word transformation rather than digestion, because we have seen that it's digesting the food, of course, but it is responsible for many transformations in our body, right? So different levels of transformation are there. And these 13 different types of Agni are responsible for these different types of transformation in our body. So the main digestive fire is in the stomach. As we all know, the food that we eat is going to the stomach and to the intestine, where all the digestive enzymes join and it gets digested. So the main Agni, that is the Jadara Agni, we call it as Jadara Agni. Jadara means the stomach and the upper part of the intestine. So that Agni is the central Agni, which actually controls the other Agnis as well. So the central Agni is responsible for the total integration of the transformation happening in our body. Next, let's see what are the other Agnis, what are the other 12 different types of Agnis. So our body is made of different tissues, and each tissue in our body has its own Agni. That we call as Dhatu Agni. Dhatu Agni. So the Agni of the Dhatus or of the tissues, which is responsible for the functions and the transformations happening within that tissue. Within that tissue. So it may be regulating that particular tissue may be regulating like a release of a hormone or release of some other enzymes or some other agents. So that kind of deeper release or regulation of all those hormones and enzymes are under this control of Dhatu Agni. And dhatus, as we all know, the dhatus or the tissues are the building blocks of our body. So the body that we see, the physical body that we see is made of this tissue. So this Agni, the Dhatu Agni, is actually responsible to build our body and by controlling all these hormones and enzymes in our body. So that constitutes, there are 7 dhatus in our body, 7 tissues according to Ayurveda in our body. So the 7 Agnis corresponding to 7 dhatus are the next level of the functional form of Agni. For example, Rasa Dhatu. Rasa Dhatu is the lymph or the circulating nutrients in our body. So Rasa Dhatu has a particular Agni helping for its regulation, and it supports the hydration and the regulation of the hormones, release of the hormones, which is related to that tissue or Rasa Dhatu or the lymph or the circulating nutrients present in our body. Then like that, Rakta Dhatu as well has an Agni, Rakta Dhatu Agni, which is responsible for maintenance of the health of the elements of the blood in our body. Red colored element, white colored element, platelets, all those are blood clotting. All these functions are regulated by the Agni, which is corresponding to this Rakta Dhatu. Okay. Then comes the Shukla Dhatu. Shukla Dhatu Agni is this almost like 7th Dhatu Agni, but I'm just jumping into the 7th because we all know about the importance of Shukla Dhatu, that is the reproductive tissue in our body. And we know that it's under the control of a lot of hormones, like from the hypothalamus, pituitary, gonads. A lot of hormones are released, and the menstrual cycle, the ejaculation and the fertilization, everything is under the control of this hormones in our body, right? So the Shukla Dhatu as well is having Agni, the corresponding Agni, okay? And this Agni is responsible for all these hormonal regulations in our body. So each dhatu, each tissue in our body, which is performing certain functions in our body, is able to do that because it has this Agni regulating all its function. So that makes the next 7 Agnis in our body. Then we dive deeper. That is the Bhutagni. Bhutagni are the most subtle level of Agni, the cellular level of Agni, and the 5 elements in the universe: the earth, the water, fire, air, and ether. It gets separated at the cellular level, at the deeper level, right? So that deep level of separation, which can be connected more like an ions or those kind of transportation across the membrane, which later joins into bigger molecules and perform certain other functions. So that kind of cellular level or subtle level of Agni is called as the Bhuta Agni, and it constitutes 5 different types of Agnis in it. So altogether, there are 13 different types of Agnis in our body acting on different levels, and regulating different hormonal release, enzyme release, and this cellular or electrolyte, this kind of crossing over of the membrane like that. Okay. So if your digestion is efficient, all your energy levels will be balanced and you have a steady immunity level, and the ojas or the refined form of all the essence of our tissues, which is responsible to maintain the immunity, that will also function in its optimum level in our body, and that will help us to maintain health in our body.
Thank you so much for that breakdown. I want to come back to the hormone regulation. I've made a note of that because that's something I want to come back to. But before we get there, and you've already alluded to this, how do we know if our Agni is functioning optimally? You already mentioned about, ojas being the refinement of all the nutrition of the dhatus and responsible for our immunity and a lot more. So if you could take us through what signs do we look for if it's functioning optimally?
Good question. Of course. If we are talking about the imbalances, first we need to know about the normalcy, right?
Voilà,
How do we know? How do we know whether we are having a good Agni or not? So the good Agni, we have a beautiful term for that, Sama Agni. Sama means balanced. Okay. So balanced Agni, Sama Agni, is a state where our digestion is very strong and regular, and it is complete. So if everything is functioning normally, everything is complete in a proper way, then we call the state as Sama Agni. And how do we know? How do we know? So you feel hungry for your meal, okay? Then you eat something and you are digesting it. And after the digestion, some nutrients are separated so that it can nourish our tissue. Some other waste products are separated, which is eliminated through our poop or urine or through our sweat. So this cycle, from nature, we are having all this food, and we are separating it inside our body with the help of the Agni, and the nutrients are separated, the waste products are separated, and the nutrients are going and nourishing the body. That means your tissues are becoming healthy. All your skin, eye, your tongue, and your body feels healthy, right? And you feel like, okay, you are energetic, you are having that energy in your body, you are able to perform your duties. So that means the separation is happening normally and you are getting the energy, the vitality is there. That shows that everything is functioning normally. And also the elimination. The waste products which are separated should be eliminated out from the body. So your poop, your urine, it should also show some symptoms of health, right? Well-formed poop. And if you pee in a very like a normal straw-colored urine without any foam or without any consistency, a difference in consistency or in smell, that means that you are having a healthy elimination as well. That indicates that your digestion was okay. That is why you are eliminating your poop and urine also in a proper way. And if something goes wrong in between, then any kind of obstruction can happen in our body. So this kind of accumulation or sluggishness that can happen in our body if the Agni is not functioning normally. And this accumulation or stagnation in our body is called as ama. And this can lead to disease formation. This sluggishness or this accumulation of toxin. It's a kind of toxin. It's a kind of toxin that is getting accumulated in our body. And if it's getting accumulated in our body, and if it's not eliminated, then it can lead to many other diseases. So if you're feeling hungry, if you're having a good appetite, then if you are not feeling any symptoms of indigestion, we can come to that signs as well, like the signs of indigestion and signs of impairment of the Agni. If you're not feeling any of those symptoms, you're pooping well, you are peeing well, you are sweating good, then it means that your Agni is functioning well and good.
Okay, great. And as you said, we're going to move now on to the imbalances. So we'll learn now what to look for when Agni is not working optimally. And of course, we know in Ayurveda that this varies depending on your constitution, what type of bowel movement, your hunger levels, and so on. It really is individual to each person, right? So you really need to understand your unique constitution. Again, in Ayurveda, there's not a one size fits all. So it really helps if you get some professional guidance on that as to what you look out for, what your constitution requires in regard meals and timings and what your tendencies are, right?
Exactly. It's so individualist. Like, each of us are born with a certain constitution. The energies are in a certain proportion in our body. So based on that, we will have a tendency to get slow bowel movement or multiple bowel movements will be there. The color of poop will. But in general, we can say that there will be some signs and symptoms which indicates that your Agni, which is supposed to be normally functioning, if it's not, then it will show some symptoms, because Agni is never static. Mm-hmm. Agni always fluctuates in your body. So you have to compare your previous day changes that are happening today compared to the week before or the month before. So how you were during your childhood or adolescence, then now what is happening now? So you can always compare with your previous day or week or month to the current situation. So that's how we identify what are the changes happening in our body, because Agni always changes based on our diet, lifestyle, the environment, and our emotions. Definitely.
Right. Stress so much affects it all. And as you mentioned, when Agni is not working optimally, then there can be the presence of Ama in the body. So let's talk about the imbalances that can occur within Agni. For example, what do you look for when you assess somebody? Maybe let's talk about the types of impaired Agni and then talk about the symptoms of each of those.
Sure. Yeah. So the imbalance happens in our body due to three different states of Agni. Three different states of Agni. If it is balanced, we call it as Sama. We discussed already. But what are the different states of Agni which lead to this kind of impairment in our body, right? So Vishama Agni, that is sometimes it will be very strong and sometimes it will be very weak. So that is the state called as Vishama Agni. And next is Tikshna Agni. Tikshna Agni means overactive digestion. Sometimes it can lead to acidity as well. So everything will burn out. That is the problem with the Tikshna Agni. And then comes the Manda Agni. Manda Agni is very slow digestion. And it may lead to, obviously, slow digestion, sluggishness will be there, and heaviness will be there. And sometimes in your, it can be seen in your tongue, like a thick white coating, or you won't feel taste in your tongue. When you chew food, you won't feel that you are having food, or you cannot feel the taste of the food. So no taste, no appetite, and there will be a thick white coating in the tongue. So right from the tongue itself, we can analyze, okay, whether this person is having a good Agni or not. Then when it comes to the stomach, if there is no Agni, there is no fire to transform it into a new different form, it will stay there for a while. It will stay there and it causes like heaviness in the stomach, bloated feeling will be there, and sometimes pain will be there, and it may lead to other clogging in our channels and in our system. So it may lead to other stiffness of the body, pain in the body, pain in the joints, swelling will be there in our extremities. BP, your blood pressure can vary. So all these kind of imbalances can happen if the food is not transformed properly. So this kind of sluggishness can lead to all these kind of changes. And Vishama Agni means sometimes it can act faster, sometimes it becomes slow. So that kind of irregularity will be there in our body. That irregularity lead to inconsistencies in our body, in our system. Inconsistency in hormonal regulation. The body doesn't know when to release the digestive enzyme, when to be ready for the food. So those kind of irregularities and inconsistencies will be there in our body if Vishamada or erratic type of Agni is there in our body. And coming back to the Tikshna again, Tikshna means it's very strong. So it can burn our body like a wildfire. Like a wildfire. It can burn out anything or everything in our body. So it needs enough source of feed to digest. But if you are not giving enough food when you are having Tikshna Agni, then it can burn your tissues, your normal tissues. And that can lead to further inflammation in your body and lead to chronic inflammation related disorders like allergies, autoimmune conditions, and even the chronic neuromuscular degenerative diseases also can arise due to this kind of impairment of the Agnis. So that is the problem with all these impaired Agnis. So we have to maintain our Agni in a proper state.
Right. And those impairments, Vishma, Tikshna, and Manda, are correlated as well to the doshas. And as a result, they will have those doshic imbalances tendencies. Is that correct to say?
It is correct. So the three doshas which actually balance our body are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So Vata is actually responsible for all kind of movements in our body. So more movement means more Vata is imbalanced. And irregularity is happening because of this kind of movement, excessive movement in our body. So Vishama Agni is a kind of imbalance happening with the Vata energy imbalance. Then Tikshna Agni is like everything is burning. So fire is more, and the fire energy is Pitta. So Pitta, if happening in excessive in our body, then it is responsible for this Tikshnada of Agni, or like everything will get burnt out. And Kapha, which is responsible for the water energy, is actually corresponding to this Manda Agni. And this Mandada or the water energy withholds the functioning of the Agni. It will not allow the Agni to function normally. That is why more sluggishness and more slowness is happening in your digestion of this transformation. So if you have a good balance in your energy, that in turn will balance the Agnis as well, and vice versa. Like if you have a good balance of your Agni, it will help to balance the energies as well.
Yes, there's a relationship there. Your doshas can imbalance your Agni and vice versa.
Yes.
This episode is sponsored by Kerala Ayurveda. If you've ever felt like the answers to your health can be found within your gut, Dr. Prince's perspective on Agni brings this ancient truth to light. When your digestive fire is strong, everything else begins to align. Her teachings are shaped by years of clinical work and her role as a faculty member at Kerala Ayurveda Academy. Their Ayurvedic Health Counselor program and workshops dive deep into this core principle, giving you the skills to assess the gut's role in imbalance and bring the body back into harmony, guided by timeless wisdom and supported by modern science. Explore upcoming trainings at Kerala Ayurveda Academy and use the code ELEMENTS100. That's ELEMENTS 100 to save $100 on your enrollment. You can find all that info in the show notes. I want to go back to hormone regulation. You mentioned that earlier, and I'd like to dive now deeper into that and how Agni affects our hormones. You already mentioned with the Shukradhatu and the responsibility there of the release of hormones. Can you share a little bit more, please?
Yes, definitely. So like we discussed, there are three different impairment of the Agni, the hypoactive or the Manda Agni, the hyperactive or the Tikshna Agni, the irregular Agni, that is the Vishama Agni. So all these can lead to different kinds of hormonal imbalances in our body, because all these are connected. The hormones, the Agni, the functions, all these are connected, right? So the hypoactive Agni, which is leading to slow metabolism, usually is seen leading to weight gain and some fluid retention in our body. Sometimes we see the thyroid dysfunction as well related to this hypoactive Agni or Manda Agni. Then the insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is also seen in this kind of hypoactive state of Manda Agni or Manda Agni. Low libido. Then irregular menstruation. Sometimes the PMS symptom, even the PMS symptoms, some of them like mood changes and all those are connected with this Manda Agni. And the emotional heaviness that we may feel during a stressful condition and also during the menstrual cycles is related with this hypoactive or Manda Agni. So we can see that this Agni is related to different functional aspect of our body, and mainly the hormonal aspect. We can clearly see the connection between the hormonal system and the Agni in our body. The hyperactive state becomes overactive, and the metabolism will become overactive. A lot of inflammation can happen. Acidity is a very common example that we see in hyperactive Agni, plus the adrenal burnout or adrenal fatigue, the hot flashes during the menopause, the mood swings during the menopause and during the menstrual cycle, the irritability, the anxiety that we feel during these kind of phases in our life. All these can happen because of this hyperactive Agni or this Tikshna Agni. Then the irregularity in the Agni, the irregular Agni lead to irregular appetite, and amenorrhea will happen, irregular periods will be there, insomnia will be there, anxiety, nervousness, all this will happen. And all these are connected with the cortisol imbalances as well. So irregularity in the cortisol release. The adrenal gland, which is responsible to release the cortisol or cortisol hormones, is in trouble because of this irregular Agni. So we can see that all these are connected. And we can definitely see feedback looping mechanism, which is regulating all this kind of hormonal release.
So we're seeing now the correlation between the slow Agni, the Manda or hypo Agni, and then that creates slowness, heaviness, sluggishness in general in the body. Then we have the Tikshna, the hyper, the very sharp Agni, leading to a lot of heat, inflammation, acidity, burnout, hot flashes, irritability, all that, a lot of excessive heated emotions as well. And then we have the irregular Vishama Agni, which is leading to inconsistency and irregularity, irregular periods, amenorrhea, irregularity in the sleep, irregularity in the nervous system, cortisol imbalance, anxiety. So these are all happening in the body. And is this then correlated to the Agni, the Dhatu Agni, the Shukra Dhatu Agni?
Good question. Is it related to Agni? Yes. But is it related to Shukla Dhatu Agni? No. Many more Agnis are acting on it. And it's not only the Agni. Agni is there. The different types of Agni is there. The subtle level of Agni, the Bhudagni, also plays an important role in this. And it, like we mentioned, it performs or it regulates the functions in our body based on a feedback looping mechanism. Okay. So some signals are sent from our stomach, from our gut to the brain. And that signal initiates further release of the this kind of hormones. So Agni, based on the functioning of Agni, certain changes happen in our gut, and that changes is informed back into that brain in the form of certain signals, and based on that signals, we regulate further functioning of the system and the hormonal release. And how does this happen? The gut-brain axis, the hypothalamo-pituitary gonadal axis, hypothalamo-pituitary adrenal axis, hypothalamo-pituitary gut axis. So all these are related. And in Ayurvedic viewpoint, we can see that there are 5 different vayus acting in our body. The prana vayu, which is acting or which is mainly controlling the functions of our head region and up to the neck region, right? Then Udana Vayu, which is actually responsible for the functioning of the organs around the chest area. Then the Samana Vata, which is responsible for the functioning of the digestion and the gut area. Then comes the Apana Vata, which is responsible for the pelvic related organs, pelvis related organs. Then the Vyana Vata, which is regulating throughout our body, which is regulating most of our like blood pressure, motor, musculoskeletal movements. All these are under the control of Vyana Vata as well. So if our prana is in trouble, it can affect Udana. Then the Udana will affect the Vyana and Samana. Then that will in turn affect our Apana, which is responsible for all pelvis related functioning. So that can happen in the other direction as well. If our Apana or the pelvis related Vata is not functioning, it can affect the Samana, and the Samana Vata, which influence the digestion and the Agni, functioning of the Agni, will be in trouble. And that will in turn affect the Vyana. Then Udana will get affected and it will affect the Prana as well. This kind of feedback looping mechanism is which regulates our hormonal system in our body. We call it different names like HP axis, HPG axis, HPO axis, gut-brain axis, but this is what is happening. The Agni and the subdoshas of the Vata should function like hand in hand, and then it should regulate all its release of the hormones based on this signaling system.
Thank you for explaining that. And you did mention there that these 5 are the subdoshas of Vata dosha: Prana, Udana, Samana, Apana, and Vyana. And as you just mentioned, there can be so many reasons for these imbalances. And that's why Ayurveda takes a systems approach to the body, because as we know, various things physically, mentally, emotionally can affect the Vata dosha, and as a result, go on to affect then the subdoshas, and then go on to affect the hormonal system and lots of other systems in the body, Vata being responsible for all movement in the body.
Yes. So they're all connected. When you are stressed, when you are anxious, then definitely there will be some imbalances in your Vata dosha, right? Vata dosha, the Vata, which is responsible for the mental clarity and which is responsible for the functioning of the brain, will be in trouble. And that will in turn affect our Agni as well, the digestion as well. So mind and body and this Vata dosha and Agni, they are all connected. They're all connected, and we should maintain a perfect balance between all these so that we can maintain a healthy life. Otherwise, you will end up in having thyroid imbalance sometimes, okay, hypothyroid or hyperthyroid, or sometimes lead to thyroiditis, inflammation of thyroid. Okay, then you may see some changes during menopause. Menopause is actually a normal physiological phase in our life. It should happen without any events or some imbalances. It should happen very quietly and normal. But many of us go through this kind of symptoms. Like hot flashes will be there, vaginal dryness will be there, mood swings will be there. So if your Vata and Agni both are in trouble, then you will end up in having this kind of imbalances during this kind of transitional phases in your life. Insulin resistance or the diabetes. So that is purely based on what food is going into our stomach. And based on the food, the body will start releasing a lot of insulin and glucagon hormone, which regulates the metabolism of these carbohydrates and lipids which is going into our body. So when the body is not able to recognize what is coming into the stomach, and if there is no intelligence to decide what should be released and what should not be released, when it should be controlled, if there is no intelligence to do that, then we are in trouble. So this intelligence purely comes from the normal functioning of the Agni, and it is supported by the normal functioning of the Vata or subdoshas of the Vayus as well. So that is why we always try to analyze the Agni and the energies together, and we try to balance them with a proper diet and with a proper lifestyle so that we can avoid all these kind of stress-induced obesity, stress-induced diabetes, stress-induced other autoimmune conditions as well.
Absolutely. It can have such a far-reaching effect. It's of paramount importance, as I started this podcast saying, for our overall health and well-being. So I think you've reinforced that we want to promote Sama Agni. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about, as Ayurveda promotes as well, is preventing imbalances in the first place, so we don't have to deal with these fires that have manifested down the road in a disease, that we start upstream and we start with understanding how to live our lives physically, mentally, emotionally, trying to maintain balance and maintain Sama Agni. So if you could share some practical tips with us today, which Ayurveda gives us wonderful guidelines to live by, I think that would be really helpful for people.
Yes. So it is very simple. Actually, it is very simple because we have to live harmoniously with the nature. What nature shows us, just observe it and just follow it. Okay. Some changes will be happening in the season. I mean, like when we change like winter to spring, there are some changes in the nature, right? So we just need to observe those changes and live accordingly. Some changes happening in day, and when it becomes night, some other things are happening. So we just need to observe it and we just need to follow through that. That's what we need actually. But sometimes we are not able to do that. We don't have that kind of power to observe and to follow through that kind of changes. Then we need this kind of guidelines. Okay, how to do that, how to observe, and how to adjust with the changes happening in the nature. Okay, so that is what Ayurveda teaches us. If you are not able to observe it by yourself, then there is a book which teaches all this to us. Okay, just understand those principles and follow it. That's what all we need. So when you try to read all those concepts, we can see that the changes in a day, like the sun is rising and the sun is setting. Okay, so a lot of changes in energy, light, everything happens. So when the sun is up, we need to wake up and we need to start functioning. When the sun is setting down, we need to sleep. That is how the solar and the lunar cycle is happening. So we just need to sync with that cycle. So we all have this kind of biological clock within us, which need to be synchronized with the changes in the nature, with the changes in the season. We just have to understand it. We just have to set the clock according to the changes in the diurnal variation and also the seasonal variations. That's it. Then we need to think about the timely eating. Of course, we need to maintain a routine in our life to sync with this changes in the nature. So how to start creating a routine? Okay. So we need to have a plan for our life. We need to have a plan, what we are going to do from morning to evening and what we are going to do when the season changes. We need to have that plan with us. So wake up early in the morning when the sun is rising up. Okay. So slowly your energy, the sattva, will build up in your body and it will help us to plan for the whole day, the sattva guna of the mind. Okay. Sattva is the intelligence. It is responsible for this planning. So wake up in the morning and plan for the day. Okay. And you can always start with drinking some warm water so that the morning time is very cold. And to ignite the fire in your body, you need something warm, right? So start your day with something warm fluids. Okay, some warm water or something warm food. And then you start like doing your job and you go to your work and you perform your functions. And when you have your food items, choose the food item wisely. Think about your digestion, think about your gut, think about your gut microbiome. Okay, when your gut microbiome is supporting your digestion, it will help the transformation very smoothly. So think about all these factors and slowly and wisely pick your food items, vegetables, fruits. Okay. So if your digestion is not good, don't go for any kind of heavy food items because it is not going to digest inside your body. Keep it very light. Warm, soupy kind of foods will be better if you feel like you are feeling heavy inside. Okay, keep it light. Then it will give some time for the body to digest and to ignite the fire back into the normal state. So give some time. It's just like the wooden fireplace. If you feel like the wooden fireplace is not having enough fire in it, what we do, we don't put more logs into it. We just give some space so that the air can come in and it can blow up the fire, right? So just like that, pick out or pull out some logs and give some so that the fire can ignite back into its normal state. So just like that, keep the food very light till your digestion becomes better. Drink something warm or soupy kind of food. And pick vegetables which are easily digested. So how to pick those kind of vegetables? So look for the elements, the bhudas in those kind of food items. Like in cucumber. In cucumber, you can see a lot of water in it, right? Water in it. But in potatoes and other root vegetable, a lot of earth is there. So earth is heavy. So potatoes can be heavy for your system. But if you are having some like cooked cucumber or some like squash vegetables which contains enough water in it, it will be very light for your body to digest. So choose the vegetables wisely. Okay, that's what we can do. Then you can always switch to some other herbal teas which aids the digestion, which supports or which actually fasten the process of digestion. Okay, so rather than drinking plain warm water, add some herbs into that water and make it like a herbal tea, and then you can drink that water. That will support the digestion. So you can use cumin, coriander, fennel, ajwain. Then I like cardamom in my tea, and then cinnamon is an option. Then all these herbs can be used to enhance the digestive fire inside our body. And if you feel like, okay, this is not enough, I have more clogging, I have more congestion in my body, then always you can seek support of an Ayurvedic practitioner and assess it properly. What is really happening inside your body? At what level the Agni is impaired? At what level the Ama is obstructing your channel? And what kind of disease or imbalance or hormonal irregularity that you're facing? Get it checked by a proper trained Ayurvedic professional, and they will surely help you with a proper herbal protocol which can correct these imbalances. Some of the formulations are Agni enhancing, some others are Ama digesting, some others are like channel clearing formulations are there. So they can choose whatever is needed for your condition and they will help you to clear that in a proper way.
Great. Yes, exactly. All this advice needs to be tailored to each individual. And you mentioned there about you need to assess the ama, the toxin buildup, the agni, of course, and the doshas, the dhatus, the tissues, the shotas, channels, so much to assess in Ayurveda, which is great. But Ayurveda does recommend cleansing the body, and particularly at the seasonal change. You were talking about the seasons there and cleansing during the season, especially to help with any accumulation of the doshas at the end of that season or accumulation of ama. Can you talk a little bit about that?
All right. So the seasonal cleansing, it's actually a good question. How we can maintain the health of all these channels, how we can maintain the Agni, right? So we have discussed a lot of options like maintaining a routine, synchronizing with the changes in the season, changes in the day, and having some good food and based on our digestion. So apart from that, the importance of seasonal cleansing. Let me give you an example of a stone in a river, okay, like a slow moving river. So if the water flow is good and the stones will be very like shiny, right? And it will have a very smooth surface and it will be very shiny as well. But the water flow is very slow, then it can build up a lot of dirt on this kind of rocks or the stone in the pond or in the river, right? So just like that, if we are active and if our channels are allowing the flow of nutrients in a proper way, our system will be very clean. Otherwise, it will accumulate some dirt inside our body. So some backlogging of this ama or this kleda, more concepts are there. But this kind of accumulation of this kind of unwanted materials in our body is what demanding for this kind of seasonal cleanse. Sometimes we can assess the imbalances in our body. Sometimes it is left unnoticed. So it is always good to go through a seasonal cleansing to get rid of all this dirt that can accumulate inside our body, or this kind of toxins which can accumulate inside our body. So the seasonal cleansing is actually like a resetting of the functions in our body. It allows the channels to be clear, and when there is no obstruction in the channel, when there is no obstruction in the flow of energies, when there is enough space for the Agni or the digestive fire to function normally, all these imbalances will be away from our body. Okay, it won't happen in our body. So that is why the seasonal cleanse is so important. It is not just flushing out everything from our body. It is to reset the metabolism in our body. It is to ignite the Agni in our body. It is to allow the system or the channels to perform its function in a normal and balanced way. So there are certain steps in that seasonal cleansing. First, you have to clear your digestion, appetite, and everything. And then you have to take some ghee-based formulation or oil-based formulation so that you can saturate your body with that and nourish your body with that ghee formulations. Then you do a proper cleansing. So first you create an atmosphere where your Agni is well and you're having proper nourished dhatus and as well the channels. Then you are allowing the body to eliminate the unwanted toxins out from the body. So that is why I'm using the word resetting of the metabolism in our body. And this always helps to reinstate the functioning of the Agni. That is why the seasonal cleansing is always so important in our body.
Right. It's really just a part of preventative health, right?
Exactly. Ayurveda focus on both sides, like preventative health and disease management. So, swastasya swasthya rakshanam, adurasya roga prashamanam. That is the goal of Ayurveda. So, to maintain the health in a healthy person and to correct the imbalances in a diseased person. So, in both group, we can use this kind of seasonal cleansing to prevent the disease from happening. And if already the disease has set in, we need to clear that imbalances so that health is back.
Wonderful. Vaidya Princy, your wealth of information. This was great. And as we finish up here, if there's anything else that you want to share, but also I'd like to talk about a little bit about Kerala Ayurveda USA, because that's where you're teaching. And if you could tell us where people can find out more information about Kerala Ayurveda.
So Kerala Ayurveda USA, based in Milpitas in California. We do consultations and we have an academy, and we conduct different levels of courses as well, introductory courses, certification programs, and workshops as well to understand the principles of Ayurveda. And the counselor level programs are there, the practitioner level programs are there, advanced practitioner level programs are there where you can learn Ayurveda in depth and practice as well. So you are all welcome to join for those programs. And if you want to know about your constitution, your imbalances, to do a proper consultation Then our Vaidyas, actually, core team is there, and also additional Vaidyas are there. So any of us can help you to assess your condition well, and to create a proper protocol for you so that you can lead or you can maintain your health in a proper way.
Wonderful. And I'll put all the links to Kerala Ayurveda USA in the show notes. Vaidya Princy, it's always a pleasure to chat with you. I really appreciate you making time.
Thank you, Colette. Thank you for inviting me.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Vaidya Princy. Lots of wonderful information there. And please check out the show notes for all the links mentioned. If you think this episode will be helpful to family or friends, please share it with them so we can spread this wonderful Ayurvedic wisdom. And don't forget, I have that upcoming discounted group, Digestive Reset Cleanse, starting October 3rd. This cleanse is designed to help you through the transition of the seasons. Make sure that you're boosting your immunity, preventing seasonal sickness. And don't forget, this is an individualized cleanse in a group format, which comes with lots of support and accountability. So you can check out those details in the show notes also, or visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com. And if you haven't already subscribed or follow the podcast, please do so. And the new weekly episodes will automatically download for you. And please come join me on social media. The Instagram account is Elements of Ayurveda Podcast. And on Facebook, it's Elements Healing and Wellbeing. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take good care of yourself. Be well. Bye for now. Slán go fóill.